Everything looks everything looks okay here. Okay. Now I go to Instagram and then go live. All right, we'll give it a few seconds. Be a quick, very quick halftime show. All right. But yeah. So this is gonna be a quick halftime show. Basically, if you missed this morning, just completely were distracted, not sure what's going on this morning. That's what we'll cover in a very quick manner right now. So the overall market is basically, we're up from yesterday, but we're just moving sideways, just like yesterday. We tried to come up today. I'll drop it down to a 5 minute, and you're gonna see over here, okay, that we did come up to this level for S&P 500, and just recently, last 15 minutes, we're now below it, coming down to yesterday's level. But all in all, this is very, very sideways. Not too much, not too much is happening right now, okay? So overall markets, not too much is happening. We can also look at QQQ, same exact thing, breaking a little bit lower, okay? I'm going to put our 15-minute lines on again. It's actually the same. The low from yesterday is pretty much the high of today. Or sorry, high of yesterday is the low of today. So again, just going sideways. We're not getting any volatility, and the reason for that is because the Fed is speaking tomorrow at 2 o'clock. And so, that's where we're going to get our big burst. But I still think, airlines are very weak. Um, Trucking is really weak, transportation. If you look at oil today, you can see we are going sideways still, but we are extremely elevated. If you look at oil over the last couple weeks, we're really just straight up. Okay. And this blue line right here is the 2018 resistance line. So it would be extremely difficult, in my opinion, for it to get above this line and then stay there. So I think betting oil down is going to be one of the most obvious trades of the year. I couldn't really think of something more obvious, and I really like to take obvious trades, things that just make too much sense. Um, so for example, if oil is moving up, then obviously airlines are going to move down because 70% of your airline ticket is made up of the jet fuel that comes from crude oil. So I only like to take trades that are extremely logical, extremely obvious, or else there's just no point to taking it. It's just kind of like gambling. But the one thing that did interest me today, which I'll show you right now, is Bitcoin. And Bitcoin is now extremely healthy above this 50 moving average, this squiggly blue line right here. So you can see Bitcoin now finally above its last resistance coming off the bottom. And you could see we really had this huge uh, base area that we were had this base support area that we were trying to get above, and now we are at 74. So now at 74, you can really see that above this 50 moving average, we and some buying pressure, this green rectangle right here that represents the buying pressure. Now, you know, we do have the ability to start moving all the way back up into the 90s. So that's why I thought, and that's why I called Bitcoin's bottom 2 weeks ago. Um, because we finally got above the first moving average and we started to flow upwards. Now above the 50 moving average does look good. So one of the stocks that I have in mind for today that looks a little bit better as a rebound type of stock would be Coinbase, And if you look at Coinbase, it's pretty much very, similar to Bitcoin, right? And so we have Coinbase now above the 50 moving average. You could see for a while it really came down with the price of Bitcoin. We were all the way up in the mid 400s. Now we are back down. We came all the way down to about 137. Now we are at, I don't know, 205. So now for it to go higher, that would be pretty much justified. That 50 moving average, it tried 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days. Now we are above it. So it gives, I think, a lot of confidence for it to now go above. Let's check some of the big movers. This is how I do it. I go to the screener. It's this button on TradingView, and then you pull this out, and then you take your watch list. No, my watch list, sorry. And then you do price descending. Okay. Lemonade is up 15%. I'm just going to go through the major ones. Rocket Lab is up 6.5%. ASTS is up 6.3%. So the space stocks are doing well today. Somehow Peloton is still a stock. I have no idea why or how Peloton is still a stock, but that is up 8%. Fiverr up 5.7%. SPCE, another space stock, up 6.25 right now. CE, a healthcare stock that's been rallying. PL is Planet Labs. That is up right now. Uber is up, probably on the NVIDIA partnership that they were talking about. Delta Airlines up 4.25. Lyft is up 3%. LDI up 4% after its NVIDIA partnership. RDW, another space stock, up 3.5%. Ally up 3%. American Airlines jumping back up today. Micron up another 3%. Oh my goodness. Rivian up 3%, and SoundHound up 2.75, and Worksport up 2.5%. PayPal up 2%. So yeah, that's basically the major ones that are up today. And the one that obviously should catch your eye the most is the sector that has been, basically named the most. It's going to be space stocks. So if you go to Rocket Lab, you can see the breakout right here. There's your breakout for Rocket Lab. We went all the way up today to its 50 moving average on the daily time frame. You guys can see that right there. And if you can't see the charts, you can that well right now, if you're on your phone or on an iPad or whatever, you can just go to YouTube. It's this you can see the entire screen if you go to YouTube. It would make it easier than just looking at this on your phone. But you can at least see the breakout, I believe, of Rocket Lab. And so now we have a pretty good chance to get back up to 100, or at least this measured move up here. You know, if you don't know how to do measured moves, it's some of the things that we go over in the group all the time, how to measure a move for a target. It's actually quite easy, just drawing the lines on these targets on the highs going all the way up, extend the line, and then eventually it'll come up and usually hit that if it's a sort of a momentous stock. Okay. And you can actually then draw something that a rectangle that hits the middle of that. So something like this. Okay. So when we're coming back up, we at least have a target for it to hit. Although it'll probably hit 100 first, and 100 is going to be right there. So I might draw this down to 100 at least, right there. Okay, so that'll be our measured move for Rocket Lab. ASTS, and if you guys have any other stocks that you want me to look at midday here, I'll definitely take a look for you. Here's our spaceship, just to remind everyone of what we're looking at. You could see all of the institutional buying below this. Unbelievable. And so that's breaking out. Let's take a quick look at all the breakouts that are happening from Trader Daddy Pro. And this uses all of the indicators that I use to repurpose for breakouts. So all of these stocks right now are currently breaking out. So it's really easy for me to just look and see which ones. HIMS was one that I had mentioned. And if we go back, take a quick look at HIMS. And again, if you guys have any stocks that you want me to look at, I will be happy to take a look for you. If you put it in the chat and I don't see it, just keep putting it until I see it. But yeah, does this have room to run for HIMS? And so this, came above the 50 moving average, came back down to touch. We can't just go straight through a moving average. We have to come back and touch it. That would just be insane. And now we have the ability to push up from here. Okay, let's get rid of this whole area. All right, we do have room to run up to the next area for HIMS. And if you want to put a stop loss, it would just be right below the 50 moving average. So the risk reward would be there. The Trader Daddy momentum indicator is heading straight up. That's exactly what you want to see. And we have green volume right here. So we do have everything happening. And we have, a whole lot of green institutional buying here. So that is always good. Let's look at some of the other ones. NIO is still doing okay. I wanted to take a look at some of these others with you guys, unless you have any others that you would like to take a look at. But let's see, what is WMB? WMB. And then I'm going to take a look at Apple and Tesla. Okay, so WMB is Williams Corporation. I love these setups because they're easy. I don't really like to do anything that's too hard chart-wise. There's your break right here. That's actually right there between these two candles. Here's your tail candle coming back up. Here's the break today. And now this can continue to go up. So this is a $74 stock. What type of, this is industrials have been doing really well this year. So WMB, this does check on going back a little bit higher. Let's take a look at Tesla. Tesla is in this support level and is really staying in this support level. You can see, oh my goodness. If you guys can't see it, that's the support level I'm talking about right here. It's been hiding in this corner for a while. And if you guys can get a better look, again, if you need a better look, you can go on YouTube. I'm on YouTube right now as well. You could see the whole chart, not just a little sliver of it. If you're on Instagram on your phone, it would be better to probably look at the screen on YouTube. And yeah, if you see price, it's like a pressure cooker. See how price is getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller into this corner. Eventually, it's going to pop out for Tesla, especially that it's above the 200 moving average. So at some point, Tesla is going to pop out of this because you can't just keep going into, deep into this triangle area. Eventually, it will pop. And once it pops above this 20 moving average as well, our next stop would be the 50 moving average. And the next stop after that is going to be the resistance levels up here. Okay. So that would be good. Let's take a look at Apple. Okay, so Apple came down very briefly to this level mm, last Friday. Okay, now Apple is, you can see Apple came down one, two. Here's the third time. Here's what a projection that I wrote. I don't think that's going to work, but we are now heading back up to our midpoint, right? Our midpoint level is right here. And I wrote the word straddle because this is an easy one to do a call and a put at the same time on the options market because you would win either way. And so if you want to see me do that, I can do that. But the math works. If you buy a call and a put at the same time, you would win on this. An April call and a shorter term put. So just in case it drops, you would win, and if it goes up, you would win. It doesn't really matter. You'd win either way. So Apple's a good stock to do that with, especially when it's at a mid level like this. But again, Wednesday is FOMC. The Fed is speaking tomorrow, so we don't really know what's going to happen. Let's take a look at NVIDIA. NVIDIA is really going sideways. Okay. They have, what's interesting? This 260 number. And 260 is 260 means the analysts in a whole think NVIDIA can get to 260. And right now it's at 181. So it's really undervalued. And so I think if you could see in this range, it likes to be in this range right now, make it a little bit more clear for you guys. You can see NVIDIA in this range right here. And if we drop down to the 200 moving average for NVIDIA, we can then pop up off of that and then go back up, or we could come down and from there we can go higher. So either 177 for NVIDIA, or it's gonna be, no, sorry, 177 for NVIDIA or 171 for NVIDIA. So either or, but they do have their conference NVIDIA this week. So, but again, I think the Fed is keeping everyone, um, you know, into scaring everyone into not really making any moves right now. Um, so it never used to be like that. When I worked, in finance in New York City, we never really had the Fed be a huge event. It wasn't until, people started to make it an event with gold, and all of these, plays trying to pick a direction. It was only when prop firms became a big thing for some reason, and people, I don't know, for some reason thought it was a good idea to start doing prop firm trading. I don't know what part of that seems reasonable to have to trade under someone else's rules and just hope that they give you money. That sounds ridiculous to me. But Meta, for instance, is a really inexpensive stock right now. I mean, I would bet, I don't know, like my whole life that Meta at 625 will eventually get back up to 800, as a longer term play. And that might not seem like a lot, but you could buy longer term calls that make that 100%. You could, medium term calls that would make that, you know, like 300 or 400%. But I still think the best risk to reward out of everything right now has to be crude oil. Like there's nothing else here that would make this a logical play or a better logical play than this. Because if you look back historically, crude oil does not get above this level right here, especially this one. And if it did, you could buy, you can then just buy more longer term puts. Just like I was showing you guys, if you have I did a June put today for oil. So it was $270, right? And if oil goes back down to 80, that would be, yeah, that would be, sorry, 80 right over here. That would be $864 in pure profit. So you're taking $271 and making in pure profit 894 or about 900. So, I mean, think about it to yourself. Would you risk 271 to try to make 900? And you have about like 4.5 months for oil to go down. And usually oil, when it drops like in a couple days. So that would be a 324% trade for oil. So to me, that makes the most sense out of everything. And again, like I was saying before, I only make trades if they just make logical sense. Because oil will not stay up like this. Crude oil will not stay up like this. It's just like the volatility index, right? If you look at the VIX right now, where it shows volatility, we couldn't stay at this level. We had to go back down, right? We can't just stay at elevated levels like that. It's not how oil works. It's not how volatility works. So, I don't see, I see that as being the easiest play. And I made a a video earlier this year in 2026 about silver. Let me put silver like this, being my number one options play of the year at this level. And then I sold it about a week later. And I think oil is going to be an easier play than the silver play that I did, to be honest. Um, and if you have no idea how to do options, these option plays that I do are the easiest type. It's really kind of like shoot, or point, click, and shoot type of plays. These are not really that complicated at all. Um, Plus, me and my group go over options every single day. So it's a really easy thing. If you're able to buy shares of a stock, you could buy option contracts. I think people just get turned off because they don't understand a few words, and then the whole thing is, I think futures is probably 10 times harder to trade than options trading, to be honest. And I've taught all five of them, all five markets over my career. But this is silver. And if silver can get back down to 70 or 71, I think it can go a lot higher, a lot higher. Um, but I needed to get back down here. We're going too sideways at the moment. We could go down to a 4 hour to look at it, but still, we're at this low level right here. I'd rather it come all the way down to this level. If you guys have any other stocks that you want me to look at, I'll gladly look at it. But again, I think for this halftime show, it's really just been that market's going sideways, space stocks are going up, crypto stocks have a good chance to go up, Bitcoin's moving higher, gold and silver are still moving sideways. Um, and that's pretty much it. And oil is going sideways, but extremely, extremely elevated. Gold right now is at 5,000. So, we're still over here. I like the people who are like, oh, I'm just going to master gold. Like if I put all my effort into gold, then I'll master it and that'll be my plan. And I'm like, The fuck does that mean? That means you're just what, going to just ignore every other easy play in the market then? It doesn't make any logical sense. You're just going to, like, at that point you're just giving up every other, easy play to just try to sit there and look at these 1 minute candles. I never understood that. I think it's more of a dopamine thing than anything else. People just like the dopamine of watching these 1 minute candles. um I don't know, this would stress me out to just watch 1 minute candles like this all day. I don't really want to sit here and look at these charts for longer than I have to. I just want to put my trade in and then go about whatever else I'm doing, and then I can check up on it later. I don't want to have to sit here and manually just watch it all day, and I think that's why swing trading is why most people do the best as beginners for swing trading than anything else by far. Um, but just another quick look at the overall markets to see if I missed anything. Let's go to a 5 minute just to see what's going on here. Okay. This is 950, 940. Okay, so somewhere around, let's go to a 15 minute just to get a better look. This is 9 o'clock, 9:15, 9:30, 9:45. Okay, so this is the opening range. And then over here is going to be 9 o'clock. So we're now dropping below the opening range for the S&P 500. It's happening right now. Let's see what happens with this drop. This will be kind of interesting to see what happens. And now we can go to a 5 minute and see if this starts to drop. Okay. So this is the overall market, S&P 500. We are now below this opening range right now. And usually about 80% of the time, if it goes below an opening range, this was 9 o'clock. This was not about 9:50 or 10 o'clock. This is the highest it's gone. But yeah, if you guys have any stocks that you want me to look at, I can definitely take a look at that for you. But just want to check to see what's happening, if this goes down or not. What's up, guys? Let's get into it. Um, yeah, Trader Daddy, I don't think a lot of people understand, but Business Insider called Trader Daddy one of the fastest growing financial brands in New York City. I'm going to be speaking in I'm going to be speaking in New York, April 2nd. I'm going to be speaking in Florida at the Options Conference May 7th. And then I have another Trader Daddy meetup where I'll be speaking on May 9th in Fort Lauderdale in Florida. So if anybody wants to come see me in New York or Florida, you can always see me. It seems like for some reason I'm the only person that has a community that does in person. Unless you guys can name somebody else, for some I always think that people would want to meet in person or have the option to at least come to an in-person thing. But I don't know. It seems that no one else wants to do it. I don't see any other, community people that have communities ever offering any in-person stuff for their communities. They just jump on like this and then just jump off for the day. And they're just like, yeah, I hope you guys win. That's why I do Zooms about 2 to 3 times a day with my group. I slow it down and teach every possible thing. We all have a big conversation together with each other, we really drill into a lot of these concepts in a slow manner. This is a halftime show that I'm doing right now. This is just a quick, what is going on? What are things to know right now? And right now, markets are going sideways. We know that. Okay. Going sideways and down and down. Okay. The only sector is space, and crypto is moving up. That's about it. Okay. And the whole point of the halftime show is just for you guys to know that, because there's nothing, for a halftime show, if you miss the morning, I'll always cover what is happening during, you know, this time, 12 to 12:21. Do you do an online course? Not really. It's more of a private group. So you could, I don't really believe in just giving people courses and just saying good luck, because that doesn't work. So, I really just, I mean, there's a course built inside of my group, but it's more to help you catch up with the rest of the group. So, interestingly enough, the people that work 60 plus hours do the best in my group for some reason. So the time element is that has nothing really to do with anything. I just repeat things over and over and over again, until people really understand it. Um, and there's nuances. The market changes every week, so I'm constantly, helping people for to understand what we should be concentrating on every week. So, you know, you can always just DM me, or you can always, you know, reach out to me. I get back to every single message. Every time someone messages me, you can always get back to me. But looks like we're at the end of the halftime show. Again, markets are going sideways and down, and the space industry and crypto is moving up. All right, guys, that's going to be the end of it for me. I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care. Bye bye.